What is going on, everyone? It is James, aka the Comic Raider. I am tired, but I have got to do this Sinister Creature Con review slash haul, and then that way I can take pictures of everything I got, and then I can put it all away finally. Because if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to get around to it. So, went to Sinister Creature Con up in Sacramento, California this past weekend, and overall thoughts, it was a lot of fun. It was my first horror convention I've ever been to, and there was some good and some bad, at least for me personally. I will say it was smaller than I thought, but as far as like the room that it's in, but it was really cool, and they had a lot of guests there, which I will get into. As far as the bummer for me was that I was supposed to see Scout Taylor Compton, who plays Laurie in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, and she had to cancel, unfortunately. So that was already a bummer for me. And then right before, so like Friday or something like that, I saw that Noel G, who plays Hector from like Fast and the Furious, um, he was not going to be in it. And so that was a bummer. And then Jeffrey Combs also had to cancel due to a family emergency, and I was supposed to get his signature for my dad on a Frighteners VHS. So basically, 3 out of the 4 signatures that I was going for ended up canceling. So it kind of made the event kind of bummer, and it, in a good way, I mean, it freed up my time because I basically would have ended up spending one day just getting all the signatures, waiting in line, and then the next day probably would have went back and done some shopping. But so overall, that was just a bummer for me personally. But still had a lot of fun, and so we'll get into it. So day one, I went, and the first thing I needed to do, I went with my brother-in-law, and the first thing I needed to do was get in line for Nick Castle. That was a dream come true for me. Halloween is my number one. Michael Myers is my number one. So to meet the man, the myth, the legend who plays him was, like I said, just a dream come true. And especially since like last year, I got to meet Tony Moran, who is the uncovered face, and get him to sign some stuff. So it was like, to achieve both of those so short after one another was just, it was awesome. So got in line for that, and it was actually a line that went pretty quickly. I was expecting to be there like all day, but being a small event, it made things a lot easier. So got to meet him, super nice. Everybody was super nice in all honesty, but he's very friendly and personable, looks right at you, says hi, asks what you want signed. Then he signs it. Then he has you, sit down and take a picture with him. And then he asks for your name, shakes your hand. It was just awesome. He charged $60 for the autograph, and then you got the picture for free. And that was kind of the rate. There was, like Jason Mewes and the Clerks guys were there. They were about the same price. So everyone was in that 40 to 60 range, I think. So yeah, it was awesome. Okay, so what did I get signed? I do have pictures up, by the way. I'm not gonna do editing and put them up on here. You will have to go to my Instagram, which is the Comic Raider, same name. Just on my Instagram, I have the pictures that I took of him signing my stuff, and then the one I took with him. So one of my prized possessions is this Halloween #1 issue, which originally was signed by Tony Moran, who plays the face, and then now I got the shape with Nick Castle to sign. So this is just, iconic, man. Iconic. It's an iconic book. It's hard to find. I've only found like 2 ever. Bought 1, and it's in nice shape. But yeah, again, to have these signatures on there is really just a dream come true for me. And then I also got him to sign. I decided to get 2 signatures, so I got the complete collection. This was a Walmart exclusive a while ago. It tends to be a pretty expensive box set here. It did kind of rub off there. I think I was so nervous, man. And I think I might have laid down the bag and board on top of it and maybe smeared it. I'm not really sure, but either way, I mean, it's fine. I like I said, I am not good at meeting celebrities or however you want to call them, and yeah, I have nothing to say except for hi. And I was nervous, man. I was freaking nervous. So yeah, but either way, I love having this signed as well. And yes, it is the same image from the comic. And then I got this signed from my dad. So he had also, he went with me to Lodi Comic Con, which is where we got Tony Moran. And so you can clearly see where he says the face. And so I had Nick Castle write the shape on all of our stuff. And I think the signature placement there is just perfect. I'm quite jealous of this now. But yeah, this is awesome. So very happy that I was able to do that. Originally my dad was supposed to go with me, but we had bought the tickets a long time ago, not realizing it was Father's Day, and he and my mom are taking a trip up to Washington to visit family, so he wasn't able to make it, but I had to at least take care of him on signatures. So that does it for Nick Castle. So then I browsed around all the different vendors and everything, and you know, wasn't really looking for anything in particular, but just whatever I could find. So I was able to pick up a few things here. So some movies. There was a lot of VHS tapes to be bought. So I just found a booth that had, and I tried to stick with some of my favorites. I'm not trying not to go broke here, recreating like a huge VHS collection, but you know, I definitely wanted to get some that were my favorites. So I did pick up Independence Day. I remember being a kid and my dad having the hologram version of this, but this was still pretty cool to get. I love this movie. Definitely one of my favorites. A lady did beat me to the punch, and she got, there was a Halloween, original Halloween there. So she picked up that. She also picked up Halloween #2. And she picked up Halloween H2O. And I was like, damn, this lady's snatching up the good stuff. But I was able to still get a couple of them. So I got a different cover to Halloween 2. So I do like this one. And then I also got, let's put these in order, Halloween 4. I love this cover. So that is Halloween 4. There's the side of Halloween 2. I didn't show that. And then Halloween 6. The Curse of Michael Myers. This one is really cool as well. So I was able to get some of the Halloweens, which made up for it. And then, in all honesty, I feel like I have this already, but I was like, the hell, I'll get it again. So, The Exorcist VHS, because I just couldn't pass it up. So that was the VHS haul. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total for day 1. And then I found there was one booth that was selling, actually I'll do the comics last. So there was one booth that was selling some movies, like a bunch of Blu-ray, man, he had everything, Blu-rays, DVDs, everything. So I'm looking around and I saw this one and I had to get it because I've never seen it available for purchase anywhere. So I had to. I absolutely had to. So I picked up a Serbian film from him. This is I could be cliche and say if you know, you know, but then I know that you always have people who are like, well, I don't know, mother effer, so can you tell me? Uh, you can't talk about it because you can't spoil it, but a movie that my understanding is banned in a lot of places, and it is disturbing. Probably the most disturbing movie, um, by far the most disturbing movie I've ever seen. I think most people would say it's the most disturbing movie they've ever seen, but I'm sure there are others. But it's basically a retired porn star gets recruited to make another one and is offered a lot of money to do so, and then ends up having to do some crazy stuff. And it is one of those movies that once it gets going with the craziness, it does not let up, and it is disturbing scene after disturbing scene, and it gets more and more and more, and every time you think that you just saw something really bad, it continues, and it continues, and it continues, all the way to the end, and I mean the very end. It's it is not a film that you watch around children. It is not a film that you watch around anybody who is squeamish, does not like. It's bad. It's bad. So yeah, that is a movie that I had to get. I had to get it. I did give it another watch. I watched it when it had first came out, but I was much younger and very immature, and I was watching a lot of bad stuff on the internet then, so kind of desensitized. And now, as an adult, as a husband, as a father, I was like, I'm gonna watch this again. And yeah, that will hold me over for a long time. I don't need to watch it again for, I don't want to say ever, but I don't need to watch it again. But it is something that I have to have in the collection as well. So I was excited to see that available. So then I found a booth that does some comics and browsed through a lot of creepy magazines and eerie magazines. Didn't find anything major, but I found my brother-in-law either a creepy or an eerie magazine, I forgot which, but it was some Edgar Allan Poe stories, and he's a huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe, so I was like, oh dude, you gotta get this one. But I found two that I really like. So first up is I found Satan 6 number 4, which will be first appearance of Jason in comics to my understanding. I do believe that the actual Jason comic came out around the same time, so I don't know if there's one of those controversies here, but I do believe this is the first appearance. But it is pretty cool. He's there on the cover, and then he's going to be right here on like the third page. And yeah, so this one was, I didn't have it. I've seen it around, or I've seen people post it and show it and everything. Never had one, so I thought that was awesome to find. And then, much to my low grade comic book fiend club brother Robert's dismay, I collect sports covers. I'm a huge sports fan, even though he likes to claim that he started it first, but that's mainly because he's like 30 years older than me. But I found the Creepy 84 with a awesome baseball cover. This is still not as cool as Eerie 70 something, which is like a Raiders cover. It's like they're playing football and they look like they're wearing Raiders uniforms and they're skeletons. So I have quite a few, well, not quite a few, I got like 3 copies of that, 3 or 4. But I did not have one of these yet, so I was very excited to find these. And they're not, massive books, but I got these for $6 for both, total for both, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So I was very happy with that vendor. He was doing everything pretty much half price, and yeah, that was awesome. So very nice to get those books for pretty cheap. So then that pretty much wraps up day one, and I know my brother-in-law got Nick Castle to sign a Funko Pop for my niece, and so then day two, which is today, technically yesterday because it's 12:40 in the morning, but it was Father's Day, so I was finding some people to invite, and on my way in I remembered that Cali Comics is from Sacramento, and so I was like, dude, I've met him through the low grades and through people that watch the low grades, and he's in our Switch gang, as we call it, our Instagram chat. And I was like, dude, I don't know if you're into horror, I don't know if you're free today, but I've got a ticket. So he was like, hell yeah. So met up with him, which was really awesome. Great dude. It was fun hanging out with you, man. And so we browsed around, and I originally was only going because I wanted to see Nick Castle's panel and hear him just talk about some stuff. And then I wasn't supposed to shop, but I ended up shopping anyways. Of course, I went back to, as I'm walking by the guy who had the VHSs, he had put out new VHSs. And I was like, damn you, bro. Damn you for restocking. But so again, tried to just go with some of my favorites. I picked up Blade. Who doesn't love this movie? And to have it on VHS is pretty damn cool. So I picked up Blade. A personal favorite, probably top 5 movie for me. Not like, oh, this is top 5 movie for everybody, or whatever. For me, this is like a top 5 movie. I love this movie. Jurassic Park. Man, to have a VHS of this makes me very, very happy. So, yeah, I have watched this movie a million times, and I am like, this just brings me back right here. This is my childhood. This is pure nostalgia to see it in a VHS form again. And yeah, had to pick that up. And then I lucked out because this is one of the ones that the lady from the previous day had picked up, but he restocked another Halloween H2O. I have said this before. Halloween H2O is my era's Halloween. What I mean by that is, when I was a kid and I was growing up during my formative years watching horror movies, this was the newest one that had come out. So, it's 20 years later, so it'd be 98. So I'm 6 years old, and yes, I was watching horror movies very young, but so yeah, this one for me is like, this one's my Halloween. This is my childhood. I still, of course, the original's my number one, but I just mean that's my childhood, was H2O. And so yes, that one holds a special place in my heart, and I'm very happy to have that on VHS. So that brought the count to, 8? So 8 VHSs that I was able to pick up at the con. And I mean, I'm happy. These are, like I said, classic movies. So that was awesome. And then I went and got Signature for my dad again. When Jeffrey Combs canceled, they added Dick Wyand, or Wyand. He plays, oh my god, I'm spacing. Ron, the imposter, on this movie. This is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. And so they had him fill in. So it was really awesome. He was super nice as well. And I believe his wife is too. And I thought this was a really cool signature too, because it was like white and it led into the white sword there, or machete. And so yeah, that was awesome. Again, super nice, super friendly. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Let's take a picture. I loved it. Everybody there was awesome. And so I think last thing is Adam Green was there, director of like the Hatchet movies and a bunch of other stuff. And I knew from the Hatchet movies, the only Hatchet movie I have is the third one. And I was like, I could have him sign that. I don't know. And so I did an IMDb search just to see what else he had worked on, because other than Hatchet, that's really what I had known him from. And I saw that he had worked on this movie called Frozen. And I was like, ain't no way in hell we're talking Elsa Frozen. So I click on it, and I'm like, oh shit, I know that movie. I saw that movie. I just saw it like a year or two ago for the first time. And I had no idea that it was one of his movies. Only problem was I don't have one. So we went today, and I was talking to Callie, and I was like, I would need to get an Adam Green signature, and I saw that he did Frozen, but I don't have one. And we go to his booth, and he's got piles of all the different movies that he's done. So he was selling Blu-rays of them. So he was selling Blu-rays of Frozen. And so I think it was like $30 to pick up the movie, and then he'll sign it, and then took a picture. And so yeah, I was like, hell yeah, I will take a copy of a movie I don't have yet, and then do this. So yeah, I was very happy with this. If you're not familiar with this movie, one of the cool things is I remember bits and pieces. I'm forgetting how it ended, which is good because that means that I can watch it again. I'm actually happy that I've already forgot the ending, because now I can watch it again. I know it is not a happy movie. I believe I found out about this movie through a conversation with a coworker. I believe. Renee, if it was you and I that were talking about this, it is basically three friends go on a snowboarding trip, and then they're on a ski lift, and then it breaks, or it stops because they like shut down, or it broke, I forgot. But anyways, the point is they end up getting trapped on this ski lift, hella high up in the air, and then but no one's around. Like, it's the end of the day, and the people just left, and so they're stuck up there. And it is a movie about three friends who are stuck on a ski lift, and stuff that happens, from frostbite to wolves to hunger to sleep deprived, heights, just all kinds of stuff. And so it is really, really cool. It has the guy who was Iceman from like the original X-Men movies, and so it's a good one. It is a really good movie. I do highly recommend it. I believe Callie picked up one too and had him sign it. So yeah, I was really happy with that. And he was awesome too. So like I said, everybody there was awesome. The only bummer about the show for me was that three people that I was going for ended up canceling, unfortunately. But other than that, I'm super happy with my haul. Words can't even describe meeting Nick Castle. And I mean, yeah, like that's top tier for me. Top tier for me. Given the chance I ever get to meet Jamie Lee Curtis, that would be the next one. And then Neve Campbell. I want to meet Neve Campbell, have her sign a ghost face mask, and like those are the ones for me. But Nick Castle was like pretty much numero uno, and so to finally get that done is, I can't even describe it really. So yeah, overall awesome. I look forward to seeing the guest list for next year. HorrorCon is going to be, or Horror Cons is definitely going to be something I will probably go to more often now. They are a lot of fun. It's different, and it's a lot of fun. So anyways, that's all for me. I am 48 minutes late on this, but happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And, best job I ever had, as I posted on my Instagram today. But yeah, I am out. Take care, and Thank you for all the love and support. Comic Radio is out. Deuces, people.